All right. Good afternoon, everybody. We'll try this one more time here. Um, I apologize for the technical difficulties. I wish I could say it was my fault, and that way I could take blame for it and move on, but it's not. So I'm a little bit pissed off right now. But anyways, it seems to be okay now, and that's all that matters. So good afternoon, Jamie McCaslin. Good afternoon. Billy Dawson. I just before I shut the last stream down, I saw Prince 6'1" in there. I think I saw somebody else. I can't remember who it was now. I was blinded with rage. There he is, Prince 6'1". So I guess we'll forego the Clemson Tiger song for the second stream because I don't feel like sitting through it again. The Goat Watson. Good afternoon, sir. How you doing? I'm sure if you're here, you're amazing and fantastic. Otherwise, you definitely would not be here. He says, "What's up, Pigskin and everyone? I'm driving right now. Be right back when I get home." All right. Well, we'll still be here unless YouTube decides to give Pigskin Pete the old boot in the butt routine. Seems like that's what they're getting at here. Good afternoon, Mark Dudley. How you doing, sir? A resident Michigan fan. So, is it Friday yet? Man, I'm not looking for anybody's pity here. Man, I'm exhausted. I can't wait for this weekend. Now, we do have some two games tonight. There's an NFL game and a college game, and Jamie McCaslin's in here. And you guys played North Carolina tonight. Now, listen, North Carolina is coming off a big win last week. However, listen, Miami has no business losing to North Carolina. I am going to be watching that game, though, just because it's an ACC game, and I want to see this new quarterback, Noki. Is that how you pronounce it? Nokai Perry. Is he starting? I don't know. I think he should be. I'm pretty sure he is. But what's up, Nick Bro? Andrew Odom, good afternoon. Welcome to the stream, sir. Nkosi, I guess. Nkosi. Yeah, it's been a long time since I opened a spelling book. Or even a vocabulary book, for that matter. All right, so this is going to be sort of a freewheel Thursday. I mean, I would talk more about this Kelly Bryant thing, but to be quite honest with you, I mean, my brain is mush talking about that at this point. I think I've said pretty much all I can say about it. I'm done arguing with the trolls on Twitter. I'm done responding to the comments on the both videos I posted yesterday about it. I'm just over it, and time to move on. But here's the good news, though, and there is always good news whenever bad news comes first. It's always darkest before the light, isn't it? The good news for the Clemson quarterback situation, and I'll just leave it at this, is, drum roll, Hunter Renfrow is now our fourth string quarterback. I'm not even joking. Oh my God! You know you've lost quarterback depth when you take your walk-on wide receiver and make him your fourth string quarterback. Yeah. You guys are talking about guys, help him out with that. Making Mark Dudley inviting him to the chat room online app, I guess is what you're talking about. Renfrow was a hell of a high school quarterback. Go back and watch anybody who cares. I mean, some of you may not care. But I've watched him on YouTube. Watch Hunter Renfrow's high school highlights when he was a quarterback. He's a hell of an athlete. And you see why he was able to walk on at Clemson as a wide receiver, because the dude is just like a hell of an athlete. And that's pretty much all it comes down to. The Goat Watson says, "There's a lady in front of me driving 30 miles an hour, 45 miles on the street." Okay. DK should be our third string quarterback. Yeah, I said fourth string. Hunter Renfrow is the fourth string. And he is, I think, the actual legit fourth string. He's going to be taking snaps with the second team at practice. I mean, listen, they're not going to end up needing Hunter Renfrow. If we end up needing Hunter Renfrow at quarterback, forget about whether or not we're going to win a national championship. We're not winning the ACC at that point. So just, I mean, anyway, I thought it was funny to see that he's actually listed on the depth chart as number 4 at the quarterback position. Ryan Reedley, good afternoon, sir. He says, Does Miami cover the 17.5 versus North Carolina tonight? Pete. Yes. I think they should. North Carolina's got, other than just being a bad team, they got lots of other problems. So, yeah, I think that Miami should really blow. If they don't blow North Carolina out, that's kind of a scary proposition for Miami. Now, I realize that you have N'Kosi Perry, right? I'm going to eventually get his name right, I promise you. Making his second start, I think. And, he's young. He's making a start in primetime college football. And it's also a short week. These Thursday, Friday night games are always seem to favor the underdog massively. So, you know what? I'm actually going to change my mind. I don't think you cover the 17.5. How about that? Because it almost seems like every single Thursday or Friday night game, the favored team does not cover. A lot of times they lose outright. Now, I don't think Miami's going to lose outright, but I don't think they'll cover. It's always something fluky with these weekday games. So Andrew Odom says Rams or Vikings tonight. Well, I think the Rams are going to win. The Rams look like the hottest team, the best team, the most complete team in the NFC. I realize the Vikings are preseason favorites. They were preseason favorites. Obviously, it's not preseason anymore. To win the NFC, or at least go to the NFC Championship game. They have one hell of a defense. They went and acquired Kirk Cousins from Washington. They've got Dalvin Cook. They've got Stephon Diggs. They got Adam Thielen. They've got a bunch of studs on that team. And I even have Stephon Diggs on my fantasy team for tonight, and also have the Vikings defense, even though that's probably not a good one to put in there, but that's the only defense I got right now. So, but to answer your question, I think the Rams will win. Todd Gurley is just a monster. I think he's leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns, in rushing yards. He was the offensive player of the year last year, right? Or was he the NFL MVP? No, Tom Brady was the NFL MVP. He was the offensive MVP of the year for the league, and they just got too many weapons, man. That defense for the Rams is almost unfair. They've got Ndamukong Suh coming back tonight. They've got Aaron Donald. They're just stacked at every single position on the field. They don't really have very many weaknesses. The only weakness they do have is that two of their off-season defensive backs that they acquired, they're veteran, good players, are not playing tonight. So you may see a couple of big plays out of Minnesota, I think, with Kirk Cousins and those two wide receivers, Diggs and Thielen. But just, I don't think they can hang with the Rams for 4 quarters, and plus it's in L.A. Who's DK? You're talking about Drift King from Fast and Furious. Jamie McCaslin says, go Dolphins, beat them Cheatriots. Dean Clark. Hey, Dean Clark, good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the stream. I'm sure if you're here, you're amazing and fantastic. Otherwise, you would not be here. And I also happen to know, because Dean Clark has been commenting on some of my recent videos, that he's clearly a Clemson fan, which makes him a genius right off the bat. He says, even with the quarterback drought, I still feel good about the team going forward. All I worry about is the 2 straight years of distraction, 2 straight year of distractions before Syracuse. Yeah, we don't have any business losing to Syracuse. That's just, and this goes back to what I was just talking about a couple of minutes ago with North Carolina and Miami. Miami doesn't have any business losing to North Carolina tonight, but Miami lost on a Friday night last year to Pitt. Clemson lost on a Friday night last year to Syracuse. And you can go back 2, 3, 4 years ever since we started doing these Thursday, Friday night games every single week. And road dogs, big time, road favorites, home dogs, have won the majority of those against teams that they have no business beating. So luckily we get, basically what I'm getting at here is we have Syracuse at home on a Saturday. And not only that, I do realize that Syracuse, and people laugh when I say this, if they don't really pay attention to the ACC, has a really good offense. It's a very hard offense to defend, and they've got the best quarterback to do it in Dungy. But listen, all those players from last year that got beat by Syracuse, they're not letting that happen. I just don't see it. I mean, I guess anything can happen. I'm not worried about Syracuse, though. Maybe I should be, huh? Mark Dudley says, "Is me being a Michigan fan make me half a genius?" Yes, I guess. I guess it does make you half a genius. You'd be even more of a genius if you got rid of Jim Harbaugh, though. I will say that much. Good afternoon, Comic Dude 45. How you doing, man? Some of the storylines for some of the games this weekend. Obviously, the one everybody's talking about is the big game, the granddaddy of them all for this weekend anyway, is I'm not Stanford. I'm trying to read my own title here. Ohio State and Penn State, which I will be doing a live play-by-play and reaction for. That's I want to say it's at 7:30 Eastern time on Saturday night. That's where game day is. This game, for the past, 3 years in a row, has decided who wins the Big Ten East. And, of course, we all know whoever wins the Big Ten East usually wins the Big Ten, unless Wisconsin can have something to say about that. But just recent history says that the winner of this game is going to win the Big Ten. And almost always the winner of the Big Ten is at least, if not in the playoff, in the conversation, and they're barely left out, which is what happened last year. So the way I feel about this game is just as far as the X's and O's standpoint, and I won't get too crazy with the X's and O's. I'm just going to talk about offense versus defense and vice versa. Penn State leads the nation in scoring offense, scoring efficiency, almost every offensive category. Points scored per game on offense. They're 21 of 24 scoring touchdowns in the red zone. That's like I don't know. I'm not a math major or anything, but what is that, like 90%? Of the time they get in the red zone, they score touchdowns. That's a pretty unbelievable stat. Now, I realize they haven't played the kings of college football so far this year. I mean, they played App State, went to overtime with them, still scored a bunch of points. They blew Pitt out. Who'd they blow out last week? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But you get what I'm saying. They've got Trace McSorley, who's sort of like Baker Mayfield light. I mean, he's got the it factor, but he's just not as much of a good quarterback as Baker Mayfield was mechanically. Throwing the football, but he's got a hell of a he's just a winner. I love Trace. I love watching Trace McSorley play football. He's exciting to watch. He runs all over the field. He's just a passionate guy. One of those sort of I don't know how to explain it. He's got whatever it is, he's got it. Except for he's just not. I don't think he's going to be a very good pro quarterback like Baker Mayfield I think will be. But anyway, the problem with Penn State is their defense. Ohio State's got probably the best offense they've had since Urban Meyer's been there. Not probably. They do have the best offense that they've ever had since Urban Meyer's been there. And they can put up a ton of points too. Dwayne Haskins, the best quarterback that Urban Meyer's had since he's been there. Probably the best receiving core that they've had since Urban Meyer's been there. And they have a top 10 defense in the country. Ohio State does. Now, Paul Jameson on here. Was on Catfish's show when I was talking to him on the phone, was whining and crying about Bosa being injured, and I understand he's the best defensive player that you have on your team. He's either first or second overall draft pick projected for this upcoming draft. The guy's a baller. He's a stud. He's awesome. I get it, but you're Ohio State. You should have 5 stars backing up 5 stars. You're recruiting in the top 5. Recruiting classes every single year. Okay? Alabama last year had they were down to their 3rd string linebackers and still won a national title. So while it does hurt to not have Bosa, you can't blame if they lose. You can't blame it on that. I think it's going to be a great game. Trace McSorley, as a starter for Penn State, has never lost at home. Never. So I'm picking an upset in this game. The conventional wisdom would tell you Ohio State should win this game based on the offense they have and defense, their complete team. I'm picking Penn State in an upset with the whiteout, and Trace McSorley continues his legacy at Penn State as undefeated as a starter in Happy Valley. Michael Moultrie says, okay, Penn State blew out Illinois 63-24. Yeah, Illinois. Okay. Miami isn't doing so hot in recruiting. right now. I know it's still early to really worry about it, but man, I don't like it. Yeah. See, I don't follow a lot of recruiting in the offseason. I mean, well, at least I do some for Clemson. I don't really start paying attention to the recruiting until we get towards the end of the season, because that's the next thing on the list after the season's over is the recruiting. Now, obviously, if you have a 5-star commit, somebody like Trevor Lawrence or some big name like that, you're going to pay attention to that. But some people get into the recruiting and they follow it day in, day out. Every 3-star, 2-star player from BFE, they know their name and their stats in high school. I don't do that. I don't claim to be an expert on recruiting. But if you say that Miami is not recruiting at the level they should be right now, I completely believe you. You could tell me that Miami has the number 2 recruiting class coming up, and I would have believed that. That's how little I know about it. All I know is that my team, the Clemson Tigers, are recruiting at a high level year in, year out. And Georgia right now is killing it with recruits. And obviously Alabama, Ohio State, all the usual suspects, Oklahoma, are always recruiting at a high level too. If that is true, though, if what you say is true, Jamie, if Miami's not looking so good in recruiting right now, well, I mean, can you figure out why that would be? I mean, you're in Miami. You should have literally the pick of the litter. I realize you've got to share recruits with 5 other states, well, more than 5 other states, but and other schools all throughout Florida. But you've got the highest concentration of the best talent in the country right down there in South Florida. There should be no reason that Miami should ever be hurting in recruiting. Period. If that is true, that's definitely a Mark Richt problem and not a Miami problem. Good afternoon, Hound Dog. Yeah, I mean, I don't care, whatever. You can say whatever you want. But hey, what's up, Uncle Lou? Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the stream. I already know you're amazing and fantastic, and that's why you are here. He says, UGA stole the Miami area's best 2 prospects in the 2018 class, Campbell and Cook. Thanks, Coach Mark Richt. Again, like I say, we pick up, 1 or 2 5-stars from South Florida every single year in our recruiting classes, and, at Clemson. I mean, a lot of them go to Florida State, a lot of them go to Florida, a lot of them go to UCF, whatever, LSU, Alabama. I mean, it's all the big name programs throughout the Southeast and South part of the country. Even go up to Ohio State. But again, there's so many of them. If Mark Richt is not in the top 7, 8 recruiting classes every single year at Miami, especially since he's an alum, I mean, that they should fire him on that alone. If he can't recruit in the top 7 or 8 every year, then he doesn't have any business being at Miami. Hound Dog says, I'm ready for the upset of the century this weekend, Tennessee versus Georgia. That would be the upset of the century, which, by the way, I'm glad you brought that up. This isn't about the Georgia and Tennessee game. That's going to be a complete embarrassment. I mean, come on, let's be real here. Does anybody think that, that Tennessee even has a chance in hell at beating Georgia? Georgia could put their 3rd string out there on the field and wax Tennessee's 1st string. I mean, that's just the way it is. But every single week so far, and this seems to be something that's trending every single week in college football. It used to be there would be like 2 or 3 of these a year where you had these major upsets that blows everybody's mind. It's almost like a weekly thing now in college football. The parity is unbelievable, which I like. I tend to like that. I mean, last year Clemson lost to Syracuse. Of course, this year we've already had a couple of big-time upsets with FCS teams beating major Power 5 programs, not like crap ones. And of course, Old Dominion beat Virginia Tech last week. So who do you guys think is going to be this week? Because there's a couple of them that could happen. And I was just looking at the schedule for the week before I got on the stream here. And being that I have the memory of a cockroach, I've already forgot half of them because I should have written it down. I don't tend to write stuff down before I do this stuff. I'll think of it in a minute. I promise. Or some of you can remind me some of the upsets that could happen this week. What's up, T-Mac Rock 1? How you doing, sir? Tiger Nation says you're a genius. I know that already. And so are you, sir. Dean Clark says Miami really needs to upgrade facilities. That would help recruiting. Well, you're preaching to the choir, sir. I've been saying that for years. They need to build a stadium on campus. But when I say that to Miami fans, I got into a conversation with Alonzo 1219, the U family, the Miami video maker. First of all, shout out to him, great dude. But he was saying the same thing. What does Miami need to do to attract more talent and get the fan base more excited? And I said, look, you got to have a stadium on campus. That's number one. And the facilities, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know what their facilities are like. I know they just built some indoor practice facility that they're all proud about. It's a practice facility. It's not a complete facility like what Clemson has, and just spent like $60 million on. It's a field with a roof over it, basically, and maybe some cold tubs. I don't know. But I realize you play in the Dolphin Stadium, and I realize they put that little awning thing over it to make it louder. That's great. It's still like 45 minutes away from campus. Like, you can't tailgate. You can't have a college tailgate and get the fan base excited and all the students when you've got to drive 45 minutes to get to the stadium. I'm sorry. And yes, you could sell out a game if you play Notre Dame or if you play Virginia Tech and you're ranked in the top 10 in the country. Are you going to sell out games in the Miami Dolphins football stadium if you're ranked number 25 in the country and you're playing whoever, Duke? Probably not. But I'll tell you one thing. This weekend, whether or not we lost to Syracuse last year or not, even if we blew them off the map last year and didn't lose to them, the game at Clemson this weekend will be sold out against Syracuse. And it would have been sold out against Syracuse whether or not we were number 3 in the country or whether we were 30th in the country. Because going to a game at Clemson on campus is a great experience no matter who you're playing. So I agree with you on that. Bobby Durkin's here. May there. Hey, Bobby, did you see a BVD's video? He did an impression of you for about 5 minutes. All right, it was actually pretty funny. But yeah, welcome to the stream, sir. How you doing? Prince 6'1" says, "Show up for home games. That would be a start." Well, yeah. Falcons Fury, how you doing, sir? Facilities don't always translate to results. UGA has a 20-plus-year-old weight room. They were college football playoff runner-ups. Kansas has a glistening facilities with more on the way. They've been bad for the last decade. No, it doesn't. The facilities don't necessarily automatically equal success. Now, Northwestern just built like a $200 million facility. It's not just a football facility, though. It's like for all the sports. But have you guys seen this? It's amazing. It's right on Lake Michigan in Chicago. It's got a beach outside of it on the lake. It's on the lake. The whole side of it's glass. No matter what room you're in, you're looking over the lake. On the other side is all glass, and you're looking at the skyline of Chicago. It's awesome. And meanwhile, Northwestern Stadium only holds 40,000 people. Wah wah. You can build the facilities, and that might get one recruit there that maybe wouldn't have gone somewhere else. But you've got to have the stadium. If you want to get the fans excited, getting the recruits there is not just about the facilities. It's about the game day experience. And Georgia has the game day experience, whether or not they have 25-year-old facilities, weight rooms, or not. I mean, I'm sure they sell out every home game, and the campus is crawling with excited fans every single week, no matter who they're playing, and that's something that Miami does not have. Miami can't help. They got to stand in sewer drainage tunnel and fight off the rats. Good luck to Hunter Johnson in Northwestern, says to Goat Watson. Yeah, I agree. He'll be good for them, I think. Falcons Fury says, "I am sad. The Falcons' entire defense looks like they are right out of World War II, but it's a nice day, so there is that." You realize you just lost Reed, one of your players that just signed with the Panthers today, sir. That's adding insult to injury, literally and figuratively. but we needed them. Hound Dog says, I'm going to the Tennessee versus Alabama game, trying to get to go every home game this year. Now, that's dedication, sir. And I think you're a Tennessee fan, right? Yeah. A Tennessee fan going to every home game this year. I'll go ahead and give you a round of applause, sir, for that one. Nobody should ever question your fandom, ever. Dean Clark says football history and tradition is part. You can't paint a turd and call it gold. Well, yeah, tradition does have a lot to do with it. I agree with that. Prince 6'1" says there's a lot more to do in Miami on Saturday too than Clemson and UGA. If we're being honest, well, that may be true. Athens and Clemson are both college towns. The entire town revolves around the university. When you have something like Georgia Tech that's smack dab in the middle of Atlanta, I mean, it's not really a college town. It's Atlanta, right? Same with Miami, I guess. But there are schools, though, that aren't necessarily college towns that are located in big cities that have a bigger passionate following and fan base on game day. See the South Carolina Gamecocks, for example. Now, I realize there's not a whole lot to do in Columbia either. Don't get me wrong. But it is a fairly big city. I mean, for the state of South Carolina. It's not, it's not the size of Miami or anything. But my point is, it's not a college town. Columbia is not. And they may try to tell you it is, but trust me, I've been there a million times. It's not. It's Columbia. But yet, they still sell out all their games as bad and terrible as they are. And you got to give them credit for that much. And the reason is because they have a decent stadium, right? I mean, that has a lot to do with it. The stadium does have a lot to do with it. I'm convinced of it. I just convinced myself of it. All right. Bobby Darkin says, going to all Tennessee games is like going to watch your grandma get punched. Yeah, Prince 6'1" says they got 30,000. I think they have more than that. You're talking about South Carolina having 30,000 students. Now, I know Miami is a private school. They only have like 17,000 or 18,000 students. Clemson only has like 20. South Carolina, I think, has more, closer to 40, if I'm not mistaken. They're basically double the size, student size as Clemson is. Hound Dog says, I sat on the curb for 2 hours before the Vol walk at the Florida game, so I would get the front row when Coach Pruitt and the players went by. Did you smack him on top of his bald head? Or better yet, kick him in the shin like he kicked that whiteboard? That would be more appropriate. What's up, College Football Maniac? You live in Columbia, don't you? College Football Maniac, you live in Columbia, don't you? Falcons Fury says, I wonder if Calvin Ridley can play safety. I'm sure he probably could. I mean, depends on that. Is he soft? I mean, some of these wide receivers are prima donnas, man. They don't want to hit nobody. They just want to catch the ball. He's got a good enough athlete to play safety, but I doubt he's a safety material. DeGoat Watson says, do you think... Well, DeGoat Watson, we already have an NFL team, sir. We have the Carolina Panthers. And don't tell me it's the North Carolina Panthers. Let me show you something. I always got people ask me to take my hat off anyway. I guess they want to see if I'm bald or something. Let me show you the inside of my hat. I don't know if you can read that. Can you read it? It says, let me see. I'm trying to look on my own monitor if you can see it. It says 2 states, 1 team. There's a reason it's not the North Carolina Panthers, sir. Now, as far as an NBA team, I doubt it. I don't think there's enough people in the state of South Carolina that care enough about NBA to have an NBA team here. So, Charlotte is located in North Carolina. Their slogan has always been 2 states, 1 team. That's always been the slogan. There's a reason it's not called the North Carolina Panthers. It's called the Carolina Panthers. Which is exactly why I'm a Carolina Panthers fan. Tiger Nation says, oh, look at Pete's fade. I got hat head, man. The Charlotte Hornets, yeah, see, that's a prime example. I mean, Charlotte's a big enough city to obviously have a team like the Hornets, but the Hornets are terrible. I don't think anybody in Charlotte really cares about the Hornets. I mean, let's be honest. Have you ever met a Hornets fan? I haven't. Jamie says Dolphins going to win 37-17. Mark my words. Who are they playing again? You got any other plans this Sunday since excuse me, since the Panthers won't be playing? Yeah, I'm still going to be watching NFL football. I'm a fan of all of football. Just like when Clemson has their bye week in week 7, I'm still going to be watching college football. So yeah, I'll still be watching football on Sunday, no doubt. Maybe do some yard work. I don't know. We'll see. Falcons Fury says, I'll tell you what, put Julio, strong safety, Alex Mack, slot wide receiver, and move Ridley to wide side. I lost it, whatever he said. But it sounds like you've got a lot of opinions on what to do with the the Falcons offense there. Hey, what's up, Darnell Ballard? I don't know if I've seen you in here before. If you have been in here, I apologize. But good afternoon and welcome to the stream. And I'm sure if you're here, you're amazing and fantastic. Otherwise, you would not be here. Let me see what you asked me here, sir. He says, what school would you like to see Kelly Bryant transfer to? Any school that's not on Clemson's schedule. In other words, well, I won't even say that. Any school that's not in Clemson's division. I wouldn't want to see him to go to NC State, which is a school he possibly could go to. I wouldn't want to see him go to Duke, which I think if he's trying to think that he's going to be an NFL quarterback, which is the only reason he would be doing this in the first place, right? Trying to prolong his collegiate careers because he thinks he's going to be an NFL quarterback, which I don't think he's going to, but whatever. I'm not going to get into that again. He's going to go to a team where I think he has a legitimate shot to be a star and possibly make a run at the college football playoffs. So let's look at the teams that he possibly could go to that have aspirations of doing something like that, right? I mean, I guess NC State is not going to have hopes of going to the college football playoff, but it's possible. I mean, low chance, but it's possible. But Penn State, big one. Auburn, right? They lose Stidham after this year. And I already said NC State. I don't know what Oklahoma's quarterback situation is. I know that Kyler Murray's gone after this year, right? I mean, who's Oklahoma's next up-and-coming quarterback? I don't know. I'm sure they have a good one in the waitings, but is it going to be a true freshman that they want to sit down for and redshirt for a year? I don't know. I don't know. I guess that's the main ones I could think of that would be in the mix. Right, Joe Burrow is going to be still playing for LSU next year, I'm assuming. So, or maybe he's not. I don't know. Spencer Rattler to Oklahoma. Is he a true freshman coming in, or is he somebody that's already there who's sitting to wait his turn? That might be the difference. So. Another one, Virginia Tech. Now I realize they're starting a new quarterback now because Josh Jackson's hurt. So a lot may depend on how he plays. Here's the bottom line, though. Kelly Bryant's going to go wherever he can start. He's not going to go and try to win a job. He's not going to transfer from Clemson and then go to a school where he's got to compete for a job and maybe lose it and then burn his final year of eligibility sitting on the bench for a team that he is only going to be at for 1 year. So it's got to be somewhere he's going to be a solidified starting quarterback, somebody that needs a quarterback and a team that's good. I don't think he's going to South Carolina. I know everyone's saying that. First of all, I think Jake Bentley's still going to be there next year. Jake Bentley can technically leave and enter the draft this year because this is his third season. But Jake Bentley's not ready for the NFL. If Jake Bentley has any aspirations of playing in the NFL as a quarterback, he will not enter the draft after this year. He won't. He may get drafted, but it'll be very low. I mean, he might get like a 5th or 6th round draft pick, and the chances of him starting are slim to none. So, meanwhile, Jake Bentley's dad is a coach, isn't he? Isn't he on the offensive staff? Isn't he like the running backs coach for South Carolina? So as long as Bentley's there, nobody's going to start ahead of him, unless they fire Daddy, which I don't see that happening, even though they should. That's another one. Arkansas, the only thing, first of all, I guarantee you there's already been a phone call made between Chad Morris and Dabo Swinney. I mean, we know they're friends. We know they have a former professional relationship. And I guarantee you Chad Morris would take Kelly Bryant in a heartbeat. But it's not up to Chad Morris where Kelly Bryant goes. It's up to Kelly Bryant where Kelly Bryant goes. So does he want to go to a team that's basically in the toilet right now? It's going to take another few years to turn around. He's not going to be there for a few years. So, I mean, yeah, that would be a good fit for him offensively and a great acquisition by Arkansas and Chad Morris. I have a hard time believing that Kelly Bryant would want to go to Arkansas. That's all. They don't really have the players there to succeed. So, Billy Dawson says FAU with Lane Kiffin would be a good spot. Yeah, I mean, X's and O's wise, it would. I don't know that if Kelly Bryant's going to get the amount of exposure he's looking for by going to a Group of 5 program as opposed to a top 10 program in the country. I also don't know if old Lane Kiffin's going to be the coach at FAU next year. He's sort of on a year-to-year basis before he gets another big-time Power 5 job. So I don't know about that one either. Comic Dude says, what type of quarterback is KB? Pro style or zone read? Yeah, he's definitely not pro style. He's a dual threat zone read. I mean, he's whatever you listen. He's the polar opposite of Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a pro style pocket passing quarterback with elite arm talent. Kelly Bryant's not. Kelly Bryant's just one hell of an athlete and a competitor. That's it. Darnell Ballard says, I would like to see him go to Penn State or Auburn. I think Penn State would be a very interesting fit for him. And that would be interesting. Penn State would be probably, if I had to choose for the guy, which obviously isn't happening, I would probably choose Penn State if I were him. Now we're assuming that Penn State wants him or is offering him, you know. But yeah, I think that would be a very interesting spot for him to go. Real Gamecock Boy says, Kelly Bryant isn't a bad college football quarterback. Y'all act like Trevor is God, dumbass fans. I know. Real Gamecock Boy. What? Who said that he was a bad quarterback? I'll wait. Real Gamecock Boy. How many NFL scouts are giving 2 looks at Kelly Bryant? I'll wait again. Exactly. Trevor Lawrence is not only better than Kelly Bryant, he's better than 98% of the quarterbacks in the college football. You don't bench a good quarterback. Yeah, you do when you have a great one sitting on the bench, sir. Look at Deshaun Watson, was a great quarterback. Cole Stout was a good college football quarterback. He was a senior at Clemson. Deshaun Watson came in there after 2 games and took that job and never looked back, and nobody seemed to give a crap when that happened now, did they? All of a sudden, Kelly Bryant gets benched for the next version of Clemson's Deshaun Watson, and everybody has a friggin' meltdown and can't handle it. It's unbelievable. Dean Clark says he's also heard Florida. Yeah, that would be another good fit for him. that's also the kind of quarterback that Dan Mullen loves, right? He loves the running quarterbacks who are athletes. I mean, look what he did at Mississippi State. I mean, with that guy, yeah, Florida would be a good fit for him too. Getting advice about who about winning football games from a Gamecock fan is absolutely laughable. Maybe Will Muschamp should be getting advice from Dabo Swinney, sir, not the other way around, okay? Okay. Like I said, he isn't coming to Florida. Mullen will stick with Franks, and Emory Jones is ready. Yeah, I agree with that. I do think he would be a good fit at Florida, but I think that with Emory Jones there and Felipe Franks, I mean, we all make fun of Felipe Franks. Meanwhile, he's got 12 touchdowns already this year, which is more than most of the quarterbacks in the SEC. Really? I mean, obviously, I don't think Felipe Franks is the answer, but Emory Jones might be. I don't know. I don't know. There's probably 12 to 15 teams that could use Kelly Bryant and that Kelly Bryant could fit in their system and help them win for a year. I think he's going to want to stay closer to home. He's from South Carolina. You know, I seriously doubt you see him go all the way out to the West Coast or somewhere like Texas, somewhere halfway across the country, or Wisconsin or something. I doubt that. I think you'd be more likely to see him somewhere on the East Coast, if I had to guess. Ryan Reedley says, have you seen the golfing prank Dabo pulled on my boy Dan Mullen? Yeah, I did see that. Was that with the exploding golf ball thing or whatever? Real Gamecock Boy says, his city owns Clemson. Ya damn hillbillies. What's your city? Columbia? Please, sir. DeGoat Watson asks a good question that a lot of people are asking. He says, do you think the Kelly Bryant situation will have an effect on the locker room? No, I don't. I really don't. Those guys want to win. Those guys know how it is. Those guys, when you go to one of the top programs in the country, whether it's Ohio State, Oklahoma, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Clemson, LSU, USC, Michigan even, you get what I'm saying. The top programs in college football, they know when they walk in that door that the coaches are already recruiting somebody to replace them, somebody that's better than them. They know what competition is. It happens every single year. People get beat out by lower class, not lower class players, lower classmen, what I'm trying to say. Juniors get beat out by freshmen all the time. Seniors get beat out by freshmen all the time. These guys have been there. They know how it is. And as far as the young players go, the freshman wide receivers, the sophomore wide receivers that are 5 stars, if you're a wide receiver, let's put it this way. If you're a wide receiver, or even a running back for that matter, or even an offensive lineman on Clemson's football team, who do you want to playing quarterback? Trevor Lawrence or Kelly Bryant? I know if you're a wide receiver who you want. You also want that if you're a running back, because he opens up the run game, because they can't load the box and stop the run, because they have to respect the fact that he can take the top off of the defense. So I don't think it'll affect the locker room at all. They know what it is. They know what's up. They might like Kelly Bryant. I mean, but you're assuming that they hate Trevor Lawrence or something, which I don't think so. What's up, BBD? How you doing, sir? Mayday! What's up, Wrong on Purpose? The artist formerly known as Drake Luke is in the house officially. Is Kentucky that good, or are Florida and Mississippi State that bad? I think it's a little bit of both, says Falcons Fury. I guess I would agree with that. We'll get a really good judge of what Kentucky really is this weekend when they play South Carolina. Of course, if you look at the past 4 years, it hasn't really made a difference now, has it? But I think Kentucky has a good team. I don't think Kentucky's going to win the East or the SEC or anything, but they have a good team. Tiger Nation says South Carolina, and he's talking about the Gamecocks, not the state, is the lowest of the lower class. BVD, question, Pigskin Pete. I'm fixing to start doing a live stream thing since that seems to be the thing to do now. What did your mic run you, and what kind of camera are you using? The mic was like $125, a Yeti mic. That seems to be the one all the YouTubers use. The webcam I'm using right now is actually just the one that's on my laptop, because I don't know if you use a laptop or if you use a desktop. I don't want to bore anybody with this stuff. It'll only take a minute. But I'm using a laptop, and when you stream live on YouTube on a laptop, it sucks the battery down in like 40 minutes, so you can't even do an hour-long stream. So I have to plug a power cord in if I'm doing a stream by an hour or longer. Anyways, so I can't plug my webcam in, but this is the webcam I use. It's like I don't know, it was like $75 or something. Logitech one. That seems to be the most popular one. Don't go spending $300 on a webcam. You can get a 1080p or even a 4K picture for less than $100 with a webcam. What's up, Jazzy TV? How you doing, sir? He says, "Who day?" Did you guys steal that from the Saints? They don't the Saints say "Who dat," and then do that chant "Who dat? Who dat? Who dat gonna beat them Saints?" And don't the Bengals do the same thing, like "Who day? Who day? Who day gonna beat them Bengals?" or whatever? Who started that? What's the original "Who"? That's the question of the night. BBD says, I will most likely use my laptop cam to start. Yeah, it just depends on how good your laptop cam is. I don't know what kind of laptop you got. I got a MacBook Pro, which is a 1080 webcam. He says that the Bengals started it first. What's up, Miranda Dansby? Good afternoon. Favorite damsel in distress, how are you? Starting to thunder in paradise over here. Jamie McCaslin is accusing DeGoat Watson of being Clemson's version of Dennis Wilson. DeGoat Watson, I do see you on a lot of YouTube channels talking trash. I love it, sir. I mean, continue doing your thing. It's funny to me. I like it. Calvin Ridley is about to run wild on the Bengals. Good luck to you, man. I kind of hope he does. I got him on my weekly fantasy league. Calvin Ridley, I just picked him up. All right. Anyway, so I'll go for another 10 minutes or so. I just see now it's just a bunch of trash talking. But you guys didn't answer my question from earlier. Like I said before, every single week it seems like now there's some sort of major upset in college football. And I'm trying to get everybody's opinion on what that possibly could be this weekend. Now, obviously Tennessee upsetting Georgia would be a major upset. I mean, I don't see that happening. But if Old Dominion can beat Virginia Tech, I guess anything's possible. I guess the game tonight you could consider to be a major upset if it happened, right? I mean, if Miami lost to North Carolina, I mean, that would be pretty shocking, really. North Carolina's not very good. Jazzy TV says Jake Fromm is the GOAT. Jamie McCaslin, it's college football, bud. It isn't for soft people. If you can't handle trash talking, stop watching college football. So now to go Watson is shots fired. Back and forth between you two. Ridley or DJ Moore? Either or, sir. I mean, literally, I would take either one. I think they're both going to be elite wide receivers in the NFL. When the draft was happening, I wanted one of those two. I actually wanted Ridley. But when they took DJ Moore, I was not upset about it at all. I was a little bit pissed off that we took DJ Moore and then Atlanta, I think was the very next pick, got Ridley. So I would have rather seen Ridley go to anywhere other than the Falcons. But, you know, it is what it is. LSU upset Alabama since it is in Death Valley. Who does LSU play this week? DeGoat Watson says he thinks LSU is beating Georgia for sure and maybe Alabama. Well, they have a better chance of beating Georgia than they do Alabama. That's for sure. But I don't know about that. LSU is a hard team to figure out. Their offense really still is not that good. They want to try to tell you that it is, but it's not. And look at the stats. Hell, just watch the game. You don't even have to look at the stats. They've won these games that they've won on defense for the most part, which is nothing new for LSU. They always have a great defense. They got a better quarterback than they've had in a long time in Joe Burrow. I get that, but they're still not impressive on offense. Now, are they going to get better on offense throughout, as the season goes on? Maybe. I mean, Joe Burrow is new to that team this year. He's not just going to come out of the gate and light the world on fire. I know I catch hell every time I say this, and I don't care. I'm going to continue to say it. I'm still not a believer in LSU. I realize they beat Auburn and they beat Miami. I get it. I'm just not a believer in LSU until they can actually prove it through the entirety of the season. If they go out there and beat Georgia and even give Alabama a good game, then I might be on board with LSU. Until then, I'm just not. You guys are talking about car parts. Man. LSU's got Ole Miss this weekend. Okay, that would be well, I don't know. On any given year, that would not be considered an upset, right? This year, I guess it would be if Ole Miss won the game. So I was picking a game my Tide could lose at home, may get beat by Mississippi State, mad over Kentucky. Billy Dawson, I don't see Mississippi State beating Alabama. I mean, come on. Clemson Carson, good afternoon, sir. Clemson Carson seems to be upset about the Kelly Bryant situation. I'm assuming he says yesterday was a hard day for him. I don't know. I'm hoping that nothing really happened personal in your life that you're saying. I mean, did you get in a car accident? That would be terrible and very unfortunate. If that's the case, then yeah, yesterday was a bad day for you. But naming Trevor Lawrence the starter and Kelly Bryant deciding to leave, not really a bad day. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just insensitive. I seem to not care that he's leaving. Maybe I'm insensitive. Falcons Fury says, I'll take the ham sandwich plus the points. Caesar salad or Cobb salad? I don't know. It just depends on the mood and what I'm eating. What's the main course, right? Are we eating a steak? I'm going to have Caesar salad. We're eating some chicken. I'm going to have a Cobb salad. How about that? The only thing about losing KB is we have no depth at quarterback. Yes, we do. We have Hunter Renfrow. That's depth, sir. He is now officially the 4th-string quarterback. What happens if Trevor Lawrence gets hurt? Chase Bryce has a little experience. Yeah, I get that. I get it. I mean, it just is what it is. What happens if we kept Kelly Bryant the starter for 12 games and he wins 12 games and then goes out there and lays an egg and gets blown out by Ohio State or Alabama in the playoff? I mean, I just would rather roll the dice at this point, put the best player on the field in the game, and let him get experience because he's going to need it if we get where we think we're going. You can't really coach who you're going to start and who you're not going to start based on who might get hurt and who might not get hurt. You've just got to play the best players. You know? That's the way I feel about it anyway. But maybe that's why I'm not a head coach. But Dabo Swinney tends to agree with me, and he is one hell of a head coach. So I'll go ahead and give myself a pat on the back for agreeing with him. I am not mad at Trevor Lawrence being a starter. Just really shocking that Kelly Bryant left. I'm not shocked that he left either. If he plays one more snap at Clemson, his college career is over after this year. So he wants to go. He thinks he's going to be an NFL quarterback. He wants to go somewhere and play another full year and be the guy, the main guy, and not splitting reps or sitting on the bench behind a freshman. I get it. Here's the only thing that I think Kelly Bryant is making a huge mistake doing. And I saw a clip today on what is it? The Chris Carter show on Fox Sports with the other guy. Anyway, they were talking about Chris Carter. I posted this in one of the chat rooms I'm in. Go Google or go YouTube search after you get off this stream or anytime. Go search Chris Carter's comments about Kelly Bryant leaving Clemson and watch that whole clip. I mean, he nails it on the head. And he says that he thinks Kelly Bryant's making a big mistake because Kelly Bryant is not an NFL player in his mind. And I don't think he is either. And what he's done, I mean, there's a lot of guys that become legends at their university. They're never going to be anything more than a college player. Taj Boyd is a great example. Taj Boyd is still making a living off of being a Clemson quarterback. And in fact, it's basically his main job. I mean, I don't know what else he gets paid for. He might be some sort of sports analyst for somebody. But he travels around the country. He was just here a couple of months ago and does these meet and greets for money. You have to pay money to go meet him and take pictures with him, and he'll sign your hat or your football or whatever. He gets to come back to Clemson whenever he wants and cover games, and he's like a rock star there. He doesn't even play football anymore. That's what Kelly Bryant is missing out on by transferring, is that chance for him to make a career out of being a Clemson quarterback, even if he's not playing in the NFL. And Tim Tebow, another example. I realize Tim Tebow, did play in the NFL for a short time, and now he's playing minor league baseball or whatever. But Tim Tebow has made a living, basically a living. Everything that's come in Tim Tebow's life has come because of him being a Florida quarterback when they were one of the best teams in the country. And so Kelly Bryant has just pissed all that away just to go play one more year for somewhere, and then he's going to be done with football. So I think he made the wrong decision as far as that goes. But it's his life, and I wish him the best. Whatever he thinks is the best for him, what do I know? He's the one that's got to live with his decisions, not me. Yeah, I think the offense is going to open way up with Trevor Lawrence as the quarterback. You're going to see. That's been my biggest. That's been all of our biggest criticisms for the first 4 weeks. Where is Clemson's offense at? I mean, we're loaded at every single offensive position, and we just can't. And meanwhile, Ohio State's out there scoring 80 points on people. Same with Alabama. I mean, they're just lighting the scoreboard up, blowing everybody off the map. I mean, hell, they could put their third-string defense in there. There's still no way that the other offenses could catch up with the way they're scoring. And then Clemson, with all that talent, we're sort of sputtering along, right? Not putting people away like we should. All Clemson fans are like, what's going on? The offense isn't clicking. And now it will, I think. Now we've got the guy that can move the ball down the field. He may throw some interceptions. He may make some rookie mistakes here in the regular season. I'd rather make them now than later. Anyway, it's been over an hour. I actually have something to do, so I gotta go. But again, as always, thank you for everybody for stopping in. It's been great. It doesn't seem like it's been an hour. It seems like it's been 10 minutes, and that's because you guys are so awesome and fun to talk to. I see you guys are still talking crap about each other. Everybody calm down. It's gonna be okay. Good luck to Kelly Bryant. Everything's gonna be okay at Clemson, I promise. I'd be much more upset if Trevor Lawrence left and not Kelly Bryant. Let's put it that way. Saturday night, everybody join me live on YouTube for the Penn State and Ohio State game at 7:30 Eastern. It's going to be a lot of fun, I promise. Tell your friends about it. Tell your grandma about it. Tell your little brother about it. Tell your sisters, cousins, girlfriends, wives, whoever. Shout it from a mountaintop. Tattoo it on your forehead if you have to, but if you tattoo it on your forehead, make sure you tattoo it backwards so that when you look in the mirror, it reads correctly. Thank you to all my mods. Thank you to the Academy. Yeah. That's it, I guess. I don't know what else to say, guys. Have a great day, I guess. Pigskin Pete. Check it out.